Good afternoon, everyone. For those of you who don't know, Nova Scotia is on the east coast of Canada, and right at the end of the province there's this little island that has a causeway connecting it to Nova Scotia, and when I go back I'm going to blow it up. I've had the pleasure of, I think I'm supposed to work with Chief MacLeod, but where he was the president of CACP for 2 years and I'm vice president from Atlantic Canada, it's more like working for Chief Edgar MacLeod. But everyone has their millstone around their neck, and I have mine. Civilian oversight. I'm going to touch on a few things that are fairly academic. I was sitting this morning listening, and from what I could see, everyone's touched on just about all of my topics, so I hope not to bore you all too much. As you're aware, there are two major principles that we as police and police chiefs hold in high esteem on a day-to-day basis, and that is the principle of police independence, while at the same time being accountable to the law and to the communities we serve. Police chiefs' whole issue has in some cases been like oil and water. They just do not mix well. What has resulted in law within Nova Scotia are police advisory boards and police boards. Oversight in Nova Scotia comes from a number of levels, such as municipal council, the police board itself, the chief of police, the minister of justice, and his legislative public complaints commissioner. So what does that all mean? Well, municipal council in Canada, and particularly in Nova Scotia, I guess, has two legislative roles. First and foremost, they appoint the chief of police. So if you think that that doesn't influence you in some way, you'd be wrong. And they also have the global approval of the police budget, so I'm sure that impacts most of us. Then we have the police boards, which have come out of legislation in Nova Scotia, and that provides civilian governance on behalf of council. There's that word again, in relation to the enforcement of law, the maintenance of law and order, and the prevention of crime. They also participate in the forming of the administrative direction, organization, and policies required to maintain an active, effective, and efficient police department, but have no authority over complaints, discipline, or personal conduct, except in respect to the chief of police. Further, they have no authority over the day-to-day operational matters, including specific investigations or specific prosecutions. So what does that mean? Well, it means that the chief of police is independent of the board and council when it comes to the day-to-day enforcement of law, as well as discipline matters within the police service. The Nova Scotia complaints